everyone, and welcome to OnSpark Studios. This is part 2 of our PopCan tutorial. If you didn't see part 1, I'll post the link to it in the description. This one, we're going to remodel a bit of the tab. Let's put this image on. We're also going to make these bevel details on top, and then we're going to add a label and a metal texture so that it looks photorealistic. That's the end goal. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to scroll in, and you can see on our pop tab, this middle part, that should go down and then over. It should be a very thin piece of metal, not like a ramp. So to fix this, we're just going to select the PopCan, tab into edit mode, and I already have the cylinder selected, but let's say you didn't. We're going to put your cursor over the cylinder, hit L, and that'll select all the linked pieces, and we're going to hit H to hide it. Now, we're going to push Control-R to create an edge loop, and we're going to put it about right there. And we're going to double tap A to deselect everything. And with Edge Select, we're going to select these 3 edges on the top and push G to grab them, and Z to slide it only on the Z axis. I'll slide that down. And now just to kind of clean this up, we're going to add 2 more edge loops. Edge loop up here and an edge loop at the bottom. Whoops, there we go. And my computer's going extra slow today. Actually, we're going to add another one here just to really sharpen this corner. There we go. Now, if you push Alt-H, that'll bring back our cylinder. And we're just going to move that. So G and then X, only along the X. And then GZ, so it's only along the Z axis. And slide that down. About like that. Now you can see it looks a whole lot better. Now it actually acts and looks like a pop tab. Okay. So the next step is we want to create these bevel details. So I'm only going to do this inner one, and then your homework is to do these ones on your own. There's also a small one at the back here. The technique is the same for all 3. It just takes some time. So rather than watching me for 45 minutes, I'm just going to show you quickly how to do one, and then you'll have to do the other ones on your own. So we're going to hide our PopCan, and we're going to go in object mode, Shift A to add, and we're going to add a curve and a path. We'll just move it up, so G, Z. Now a path works pretty much like the pen tool in Photoshop. If we go back to edit mode, you can see it has vertices on it, and when you take a vertice and move it, G is to move it. Same way you move objects. You'll see it moves the path, and the path is just an average of the 3 points. And to add another one, you click the end vertex, and push E to extrude, and there we go. So now that we roughly know how it works, we're going to push 7 to go to top view. And what we want to do is we want the path to follow our bevel spot. So we'll start with this vertex, move that in, move that in, move that in. Right now, this is just rough placement. We just want to get it roughly where we want it, and then we'll fine tune it later. All right. So we're going to select the end one, E, 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 and we're just going to go back along. Now, once we get to where we need to close it, select both vertices by pushing Shift and selecting the other one, and hit Alt-C, and that'll connect the path. Now we can just move all of our vertices where we need them. And we want it to be in the middle of the top bend. That's our goal. Which I'm just doing this. I'm doing it pretty quick and dirty, so at home I'd recommend putting more time. It's going to look better if you put more time and make sure it's smooth and even all around. But since you don't want to sit here and watch me move dots for half an hour, this is good enough for us. Now that we have our path, we're going to go into our path settings, our object data properties. We're going to scroll down until you see geometry. Click that, and we're going to go to under bevel. We're going to change the depth. Extrude, this is another one that's used a lot. Extrude just makes it like that. So if you're going to do, I don't know, a big piece of rolled up paper, extrude is the one you want. But for us, we want a tube. So we're going to change the depth of the bevel to roughly match what it is down here. So let's go 0.08, and the resolution, we're just going to change it to 1. And there we go. Now we're going to tab back into object mode. We're going to hide our image and bring back our pop can. And with the path selected, right click and go convert to mesh. And then with the pop can selected, go to the modifiers. We're going to change our modifier renders down to 1 for viewport and render. And then we're going to apply that. And the reason we're doing that is we're going to use a Boolean modifier to add our rim here to the top. And Boolean modifiers just kill your topology, so it's easier to work with less now, and then we can fine tune it later. And we've set each thing to 1, so that when we add another modifier, because we also want it to add to the rim here, we can add a 1 and 1 modifier or subdivision modifier, so that you'll see what I mean when we do it. But basically, you don't want to add another subdivision modifier that's like 2 and 2 or 3 and 3, because it's just going to add so much topology that you don't need. And that's what I was trying to get out. Now, select your path here. And we're going to push G, Z to move it along the Z axis. And we want to move it to just where it intersects with our pop can. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You want it about halfway. And we're just going to push G and X to move it on the X axis, just to get it out from under the pop tab. And there we go. So once we have it here, now is when we can add the Boolean modifier. So select your pop can, select modifiers, add modifier, Boolean. And here's our options here. Difference is going to subtract an object from another object. Union adds it, and intersect, it will only show the object where both objects intersect. So we're going to use union because we want to add it. And then with object, click the eyedropper and click the path. Now just take a second because my computer is not great. There we go. Now you can see there's some weird shading. All that is our path is still visible. And then we don't want that. So we're just going to hide that. I don't recommend deleting it yet, because if we want to make changes, like see how mine is, it's not a perfectly smooth, but you can really see now. I'm not going to fix it, but if you were to fix it, you'd have to go back to your path, change that, and go from there. The other problem is you can see that we have this weird shading going on the outside. And if we go to object mode, first we're going to apply, there we go. We're going to apply our Boolean modifier. If apply is grayed out and it won't do it, it's because you're in edit mode. So just make sure you're in object mode and apply the Boolean modifier. Now if we go back, you can see it's added in. And the reason that the shading is so bad is because of the topology. So we're going to push 1 to go to vertex select, and you can see like we've got vertices that should be connected that aren't. We've got n-gons like crazy, triangles everywhere. That's what we need to fix. So what we're going to do to fix that is there's 2 things we need to do. We need to merge the close vertices, and then we need to create quads out of anywhere, any surfaces that our rim is touching. So to merge the vertices, select 2 vertices by shift clicking one, or click 1 and then shift click the close one, and then push M, which if you're on an older version of Blender, it'll be Alt M, and go merge at last. And then this one, we're going to select this one because you want them all to be quads. So that's why we're not doing this one, because that would be a try. There's only 3 vertices. We want 4 vertices on it. M, merge at last. And just do that all the way. I'm not going to do all the way around, but you just do it. Let's merge. Actually, this one we're going to merge all 3. So merge at last. And that's going to clean up that a little bit. Ooh, actually, see how that moved this line in? So we're actually not going to do that. We're just going to merge these 2. merge at last. That'll save us a little bit of time later on. So just go around, do that to any of the vertices that are close to each other. And then to make quads, we're going to use the knife tool. And all we need to do is click a vertice, click where we want it to end, and then hit enter. And then there, enter, there, enter. And we're just going to go all the way around. Okay. 1, 2, 3, so we should connect there. Now, this isn't the best way to do it. Since this is just a small detail on the top of our can, this is going to work for what we need it, because it is supposed to look, it's not supposed to be a sharp angle. It's supposed to look like it's kind of leading up to it and then going. So now if we go into object mode, so now let's say you've gone all the way around. We're going to add modifier, and we're going to go subdivision surface. And that's going to really clean up the edges. And we'll just change that down to 1, and there we go. It doesn't look too bad. When you add in textures and lighting and everything, you'll really see spots like this that are like very hard edges. But you can see our little corner, nice and smooth. And there we go. You'll have to do that for the other rim. Let me bring that back. You'll have to do that for this rim and the one at the back as well. So let's say you've done all that. All we need to do now is add the metal shader and the label. So we're going to go into shading. And with our can selected, we're going to hit new. And I'm just going to bring up the material property on the side here as well. This whole menu is this, just in a more menu feel. So first thing we want to do, we're going to scroll in. Using the mouse wheel, you can click and hold and slide everything around. We're going to change it to 100% metallic. And our roughness, we're going to go down to, let's go 0.25. There we go. And that's gonna, might be too shiny. We can always adjust it later. It looks all right for what we're doing. So now what we want, metal isn't perfectly smooth, so we need to add a little bit of detail to it. And for that, in the downloads that I'll put a link to, there's going to be one called Brushed Metal Normal, which I have on the side here. You can find the file by using these options up here. So we're going to take that, we're going to slide it in, put that there. We're going to change it to non-color. And then in the middle here, we're going to push Shift A, and we're just going to look for a normal map. There we go. Now color goes into color, normal goes into normal. And you can see right off the bat, we get a lot more detail. Looks a lot more realistic. And that's going to work. It's going to work for what we need. The only thing is, I'm just going to change the strength of it, because that's just way too much. There we go. It doesn't need to be crazy, especially since, I mean, when you view it, you're probably never going to be closer than this unless it's a commercial that needs to show it point blank. You're not going to do it. Now we need to add the label. First, we're just going to rename this to metal. There we go. So to add the label, what you would think you need to do is just put in our label here. Also, don't judge me on the label I created. That was just a quick project just to, I don't know what the rules are with using other people's labels, so I just created my own real quickly. Don't judge my design skills. If we put that into base color, it's going to put the label on, but also it puts it on the top, puts it on the bottom, and we don't want any of that. So what we need to do, we're just going to delete that by pushing X. What we need to do is create a new material slot that only affects this part, like where the label should actually be. So up here, we're going to go into edit mode, and we're going to go into face select, and we'll zoom right in. Okay. So we're going to push Alt and Shift, and we're going to click on the right side of there, and we're just going to go down the can we go. Scroll down. Alt, Shift, click, click, click. And we'll get this one as well. Okay, now what we want to do, let's just center that again. On the right side here, we're going to click this plus, and that's going to create a new section. And under here, we're going to click assign. So now you can see when it turns white, that means it's assigned to it. So what we're going to do is first apply our metal to it, and then over here we're going to go duplicate material. We're going to call this label. And the reason we do that is because, we could just create a new shader and then add this again, but it's just quicker to duplicate the shader we already made. Now, if we go into our file here and select our label, drag that in and select it to, there we go. Now you can see it's only, we'll go back to object mode. You can see it's only on the area that it should be on, but the scale is all wrong. So to change that, we're going to go into UV shading. We'll slide this over a little bit, and we're going to scroll out. Over here, if you hit A, oh, that's not what we wanted. We wanted, tab back into here. With your label selected, hit select. There we go. Now when we go into UV shading, now it's just the label. Over here, if you've never used a UV map before, basically this grid here is all the pieces attached to our can. So if we hit A over here, we can push G and then Y, and we're going to slide that down to the middle. I've also got some random ones here. Where's that? That shouldn't matter. Shouldn't. It will, because that's how most of my tutorials go. But now we're going to we're going to scale it up with S and Y. Okay, and then GY to slide it down again. And you can see what we're doing. We're just trying to make our grid, our UV map here, fit our label. So scale Y. And there we go. Just a little bit more. Okay, so now that's there. And we're just going to slide this over by using the mouse button. And we're going to here. And now you can see, now the scale is right, but the position's off. We don't want the nutrition facts underneath where someone's drinking it, because you don't want them to know how bad it is for you. So, this is our little extra spot up here. That's what it is. I should go back and fix it. Normally I would, but we're already at like 20 minutes, so we'll just leave it. What we want to do now is get our nutrition facts somewhere around the back. So with our mesh selected over on our UV side, hit GX, and we're just going to slide that to the side until we get it about where we want it. So let's go about right there. Now you can see our nutrition labels on the back. And there we go. And that's basically it. That's all you need to do to shade something. We'll go back to our shader because it's a nicer view. And there we go. So if you haven't already done it, put in these pieces up here, the other bevel spots. If you really wanted to, you could go in and play with some more settings. You can also go to, I think it's cc0textures.com. They have a lot of free textures. If you want to play around, you can also make the can look like wood or stone. You can make it look like anything you want. And play around with it until you find something that's, until you feel comfortable with doing it. Because shading is a lot of what's going to make your objects look real. Especially metallic ones. I love doing metallic ones. I love the shine that it gives. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you next time.